When We Two Parted by Lord Byron. When we two parted in silence and tears, half broken hearted, to sever for years, pale grew thy cheek and cold, colder thy kiss. Truly that hour foretold sorrow to this. The dew of the morning sank chill on my brow. It felt like the warning of what I feel now. Thy vows are all broken, and light is thy fame. I hear thy name spoken, and share in its shame. They name thee before me, a knell in mine ear. A shudder comes o'er me. Why wert thou so dear? They know not I knew thee, who knew thee too well. Long, long shall I rue thee, too deeply to tell. In secret we met, in silence I grieve, that thy heart could forget, thy spirit deceive. If I should meet thee after long years, how should I greet thee? With silence and tears. You'll find that poem in your GCSE poetry anthology if you're doing AQA as the exam board. So this is from over 200 years ago. So George Gordon, Lord Byron, one of the most celebrated poets of the Romantic movement, one of the only peers to be a noble, well, peers who was a poet. So this one is semi-autobiographical. Don't wish to be mired in the particulars of Lord Byron's life. He was bisexual, had a very colourful private life, but we want to look at it as a poem and not get sidetracked into his biography. You can do that just for fun, but don't need to know it for GCSE. So it's a little bit unusual in as much as the opening line is also the title, When We Two Parted. Parted obviously mean separated. They went their separate ways. Himself and his lover. Is he referring to a man or a woman? It doesn't matter. Obviously, homosexuality was illegal. Male homosexuality illegal in England until 1967. So if it was a same-sex love affair, he wouldn't be able to make that plain. That'd be unsafe. So when we two parted in silence and tears, so clearly the relationship had a sad ending. It just didn't run its course, and on the other hand, they didn't have a blazing row. It ended in silence. But obviously, sad it ended, half broken-hearted. Perhaps it's surprising it's not fully broken-hearted. To sever for years, sever as in like to cut, to end. For this relationship is broken off. Pale grew thy cheek. So pale is unusually white. Whiter than the person's usual complexion. Now, why do people suddenly grow pale? Is they're faint, they're ill, something like that. They're very cold. So it's definitely bad news if the person is pallid. So thy, obviously the old-fashioned way for your cheek grows pale. So you're feeling weak and sick because of this, and cold. Physically cold, I think more importantly, emotionally cold. This person is fallen out of love with Lord Byron. Colder thy kiss. So there might be some sort of farewell kiss, but the person's kissing Byron perfunctorily. There's no more romance or eroticism left. Truly that hour foretold. So that moment indicated what the future was going to hold. Sorrow to this, as in like being sorry, sadness, suffering. So from then on, he was going to be sad. Lord Byron was sad. So you notice the regularity of the poem. The stanzas that they're all 8 lines. and you see how rhythmical they are. Think of the meter. When we two parted, in silence and tears, half broken hearted, to sever for years. Pale grew thy cheek and cold, colder thy kiss, truly that hour foretold sorrow to this. And some of the lines are a bit longer than others. So most of them are 4 or 5 lines. And you see, look at the rhyme scheme. Goes in the first stanza A B A B C D C D and so on. Yeah. Um, and then in the second stanza A B A B C D C D. The third stanza A B A B C D C D. And then in the last stanza um, uh, A B A B C D C D. All right. So there's a regularity to it. There's a circularity to it, in as much that silence and tears is in the second line of the first stanza, and right at the end of the poem is the final line. And then he says, "The dew of the morning sank chill on my brow." So if you wake at dawn, in the summer, the water will have come out of the leaves and the blades of grass and settled there because of the cold. Sank chill on my brow. Now it's normally thought to be beauteous to see, but somehow it's cold on him, his brow, and his as in his head above his eyebrows. It felt like a warning of what I feel now. Why? Because the Jew is redolent of tears. He was going to suffer and be cold, be lonely. And so it's a plaintive poem. Thy vows are all broken. Thy, the old-fashioned word for your, like you've broken your promises, and light is thy fame. Now, light, is that to mean as in it's not heavy, your fame is not serious or well deserved, or does it mean light as in brightness? That's what make you famous. I think it's light in the former sense. Light as in the opposite of heavy, but this means unserious. She or he has become well known despite not achieving much. I hear thy name spoken, so I hear your name spoken and share in its shame. So this person is well known for a bad reason, and Lord Byron feels ashamed by his previous association with his erstwhile lover. They name thee before me. So who is they? People in general. Thee, that's you. They, as in they name your name in front of me. They say your name. A knell in my ear. Knell is a special bell to be rung to signal a funeral is about to start. So it's like a funeral bell for him. It seems like death, inasmuch as the relationship is over, it's dead, or it's just deathly, the suffering he's going through, because he's always grieving for lost love. A shudder comes over me, this involuntary shake running all through the body, with horror. O'er is over, so that for the sake of scansion, has omitted the V to make it a one-syllable word. O'er, that's really over. A shudder comes over me. Why wert thou so dear? Wert as in were. Why were you so dear? Okay, so how can we love this person if she, or possibly he, jilted him, if it all ends so badly? How did love turn to these hostile feelings? He feels a fool for having loved this person. They know not I knew thee. Some people don't realize that Byron was in a relationship with that person, um, who knew thee too well. In fact, he knew this person very, very well, and perhaps wishes he hadn't. Long, long shall I rue thee. Rue is the regret. So I'll regret for a very long time. Either we had a relationship or we not or broke up. You can interpret either way. Too deeply to tell. So this regret really goes to his heart, this suffering. So we're reading these pangs of anguish. In secret we met, in silence I grieve. So they had some assignations. Grieve as in experiencing this grief that the relationship is over, that thy heart should forget. Because it appears that Byron still loves the other person, but she or he doesn't love him back. Thy spirit deceive. So that person, as though she or he tricked him. If I should meet thee after long years, so maybe many years in the future I'll meet you, how should I greet thee? Could he rekindle this relationship or not? With silence and tears. He's suggesting he won't say anything, he'll just cry. Perhaps Byron believes the relationship can never ever be brought back. So that's my interpretation of it.